I got a death wish, her looks can kill. She's got a red dress, lipstick and heels. Pull me in, get me hooked like a junkie. Got me feeling so high. You're such a beautiful drug, can't get enough. Addicted and I'm dying for a hit of your love. Got a death wish, baby, baby. Don't want you to save me, save me. She lets her head down and all of my stand up. Can't help but stare now. Gotta feel that touch, her kiss, my face so sweet. Can't quit, those lips are habit to me. Sweet intoxication and I'm never getting sober. I can tell that the effects are taking over. Pull me in, get me hooked like a junkie. Got me feeling so high. You're such a beautiful drug, can't get enough. Addicted and I'm dying for a hit of your love. Got a death wish, baby, baby. Don't want you to save me, save me. Tonight. Such a beautiful drug, can't get enough. I'm addicted and dying for a hit of your love. I'm losing it, baby. Keep driving me crazy, crazy. Going out of my mind, staring at you, burning up in your fire that I've fallen into. Got a death wish, baby, baby. Don't want you to save me, save me. Tonight.
G'day, good morning. How you guys going? Hey, it's so great to be here with you guys. Of course, this little horse needs no introduction. Many of you guys have got to see his entire career from start to right now. If for those of you that may not, this is Swampy. Swampy, yeah, a lot of you guys know him. So in 2012, I had the great privilege of being part of Team Australia, and this was the little horse that we started. And he's gone on to do a lot of really incredible things. Anything from be a horse that has done many demonstrations across the country, right through to even being featured just recently in a pretty big, well, they say it's a big company. I don't know, this company called Versace something. I don't know, it's some clothing line. So he was one of the featured horses in a photo shoot with some of those guys here recently. But what I wanted to kind of come along and share with you here today, to begin with anyway, we'll see how time permits, is to take you through and to show you one of the most important parts of our training program, which is the long reining, and to see some of the benefits of it and the reasons why that we use it, and then going through and explaining a little bit more in detail how that we go about achieving some of the things that I've just started to show you here with Swampy today. But are you guys all having a good time here nice and early, ready for a good fun weekend ahead? Katie, if you've got that other bit of training gear there, the other long reins and the lungy bungee, if you guys will bring that in. So let me just kind of talk a little bit about the long reining and why that we use it. For me, I use it in when we're starting our young horses or colt starting. We use it a lot for when that we're working on or building towards either whether it's problem horses or that we're looking at going on to develop those horses into some more higher level education. And that higher level education can be anything from lead changes to some passage to some piaffe. We're going to be able to go through and use that long reining to improve the horse's rear, his Spanish walk. There's multiple different reasons and things that we can do to go about and use that. So, you don't look much like Katie. This is my good mate, Chip. Chip always comes along and lends out a hand. He's also an active member of the military, and feel very, very lucky to have Chip out here with us. So what I'm going to do, and what I wanted to show you guys here, is showing you where that this would start. I've kind of shown you a few little things as to where that we would end up going with it later on. But what you'll notice now is that I'm dropping these reins down onto a lower ring here on my horse. And the reason for that is basically the less education, thanks for that, Chip, and you can, if you just leave me with, actually let's leave all these out here, I'll use them here at some point. They can stay as well, I'll probably come back to them. So the other little attachment that I'm going to add on here is what I refer to as a lungy bungee. And it's, besides the fact that it's a really cool name, the lungy bungee, what it does is that it helps us in the times when we're sort of learning or beginning with these horses, it helps us be in a position that if we happen to get it kind of wrong when it comes to working our horses in the long reins, it's there to kind of assist. Not just to kind of ask the horse into the frame, but to kind of substitute for where that we go to use our hands and so forth. So you can see that the length of rein that I've just changed here to is also changed. I've got our, what we refer to as our regular 26-foot long reins, and this is where we kind of start. When we start out teaching people at clinics about long reining, or if we're starting out working a colt, these are the length of reins that we would go about working in. Because you might say, man, they seem kind of long. I'm telling you right now, you find yourself in a position, these don't seem long enough. Now, the other thing that you'll find is that you can see that I've got my fancy dancing shoes on, because one of the other things that you don't want to have on, ideally in this, is your spurs and your boots. Not only are you going to have to do a lot of walking, the spur also acts as a perfect hook on the back of your foot to get these reins around, okay? So, and I'm totally speaking from experience. I went from long lining a horse one day to becoming an arena drag. Now, you can see the multiple different rings on the surcingles that we have here. And like I said, the greener the horse, the lower I have the long reins here set on. So the more educated the horse becomes, the higher that I start to set them, okay? So as I go through this process, I want to kind of show you some of the things that I did in order to get with Swampy where we are now. A lot of the times when we begin with long reining, the one step that I've skipped over is that when we first start out, and this is just a time constraint thing this morning, but I would go through and make sure that my horse was desensitized to having the ropes around his hind legs and across his body, okay? Once I've kind of got to that point that I feel that he's pretty comfortable, then I've gone through and I have both reins running in what we'd refer to as direct reins, so directly from my hands through the surcingle to the horse's bridle, okay? Now you can see there just every now and then that he'll bump into what we call the lungy bungee. And the lungy bungee it's an elastic feel. So the other advantage to it is that we have what we call an equalizer just underneath the bridle there. And what that does is that it doesn't restrict lateral movement left and right as you would find with what side reins do, okay? So that to me for the long reining is super, super important. So what are some of the things I look for when I first start this out? When I first start out on long reining, I don't even worry about the horse's vertical flexion. I'm just focused on the lateral flexion and being able to move around me, okay? Once I have directional correctness so that I can move him around either which way that I want, then I'm going to look at my speed control. Now, obviously for most of the things that we do, we start out in the trot as it's a good forward gait to pick, and then we'll move up to our canter and also the transitions down. But to begin with, like I said, I'm here trotting him around, and this is also help as a bit of a warm-up too. And what I'm going to look at doing is that I'm going to start building my way all the way in here towards my horse. And I do this from the start, because as we progress and the horses become more comfortable and confident and their ability improves, I want to be able to work very close in hand, okay? So I'm in here on a very small circle, then I'm going to feel him gently on the outside right rein and ask him to go as far out on this circle as I can go. And you can see that I'm just allowing those reins to slide through my fingers, asking him to continue all the way out. Because obviously when we first start the canter work also has to start out on a very large circle, not only for the horse to be able to maintain it, but to help with his balance and that he's not falling in and out. So I'll work to where I can get my horse all the way out to the end of the rein. You can see the outside rein there is, because it going around the horse is a little shorter, and then I'll bring him and I'll work my way back in. And you can see here in this exercise that I'm actually the one doing the work, working back out to my horse, okay? Then I'm going to allow him to slide back out. You'll also see that the reins are traveling between my legs there, as opposed to me hanging on to them. Now, the reason I do this is because when people are starting out working on long reining, what I typically find is that they get really in a mess with those reins when they're trying to have them all gathered up. So I just allow those reins to stay on the ground and to just ride there between my legs while I'm working him. Okay, so we'll move him out all the way on this side. Allow those reins to feed through my hands. Good. Okay. And then I'm going to bring him back in on this side. The same thing again. Just follow him back in. Now, one of the biggest things that I look for when I'm starting out the long reining on the young horses or on problem horses that we get sent is I really start to focus on looking at the horse following his feet. Now, what does that mean? No different than under saddle. If I start to pick up on my left and my right rein, I really want that horse to follow that direction. So let's say, for example, that I had a horse in here and we were working him here in the long reins and he just kind of really started bulging out through the shoulder. I just hold on my inside rein and I would use my lunge whip here and ask on this guy, and I would hold on that face until I start to feel that the shoulders are following his mouth or the direction that I'm asking to, okay? Because for me, when it comes time to hop up there and ride, if I pick up and direct him to the right, I want those feet to follow. So I really start to look at that right from a very early age when I start in these long reins. Allowing back out here. Good. Okay, then maintaining the contact with my inside right rein on the outside left rein, I'm just going to ask him to stop. Whoa. Good boy. Pick up and hold that there. You guys are pretty good. Most other places you go, you've got to say, hey, you can clap and cheer and enjoy this, but you guys are a pretty good educated crowd. Now, one of the things that I'm looking for here, when I release the long reins, is just not when the horse's feet stop. It's just not when he's rounded in the frame. It's actually when he softens his lower jaw and his mouth. That's when I'm going to look at releasing it and allowing him to go forward again, okay? So the other thing is that not only do I need to do that in the stop, but I also need to do it in the upward transitions. Walk on. So you can see I just maintain the consistency there in the contact, asking him to go forward there, up into the trot. Trot on. Good man. Okay, and then I'm going to ask him up into the canter. Canter. Good job. And the same thing when I start out with these horses on the long reins, the young horses, I'm going to allow them to travel out on quite a big circle to be able to maintain that balance. And the thing that a lot of people feel that they get a little bit, nervous about using the long reins. It's a little bit foreign. Guys, this is no different than learning to ride. It takes time and practice, spending time on working with it. But it is, to me, one of the greatest assets that a horse person can have is another set of tools in their training program, because if you don't have the confidence as a rider to maybe ride through certain things, long reining is a really efficient way that you can go through and work through some of those training difficulties, whether it's obstacles, whether it's on the ground, riding your horse to a contact or to a connection, that you can go through and achieve these things with some practice and working on your long reining. Okay, allowing back out. And you know, some people may not have the ambition that they want to take the long reining to the extent that I talk about, but even if you don't want to take it to that, when on your young horses, when you're starting them or working them, it's a great way to help to develop that horse through his body and his muscles before you even place a rider on it. Okay, right, ask him up here to the canter. Then we're going to get into a little bit more challenging stuff, so I'll ask him to go all the way forward here, keep that canter. I'm going to really ask him to kind of open up here, move that canter out. Good boy. And you can just see how that lungy bungee just kind of comes in and helps support him there every now and then when my reins, you know, get a little bit out of whack or I'm concentrating on talking to you guys. Okay, and wool. Good, holding the contact all the way down into the square hold. Good job. Now the other thing is, thanks guys, the other thing is that when I approach my horse, I walk in and you can see how that I've stayed behind the drive line, but not directly behind him. It's in this area right here that I can walk in and then maintain that feel, okay? All right, I'm going to start to work on what I would refer to as some of the lateral work. I'm going to come across here to the fence, and I'll do it a little bit on both sides so that everybody can see it. I'll bring him over here to the right here first. So even before I ride some of my horses, what I'll look at doing is that I'll use the wall as one of the best training aids that I have, okay? And what I'm going to look at doing is initially is that I just kind of get them traveling along the fence, and then as they're traveling along that fence, then I just start to take their nose towards the wall, and using my whip like I would as my legs, I would use that to help then push that horse's hip around. Walk on. So here we go. So we'll ask him to go here firstly straight. Get a little closer to the wall. Man. Nope, back the other way. Okay, so we're going along here straight. Then what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to bring this hip here to the inside. Okay, and then I'm going to hold him here and ask for him just to move down the fence with that nose tip to the wall and moving that hip. Okay? Now, if you've done your work on your ground control there to begin with, this exercise is going to come to them pretty easily because my rein or the wall is saying, no, don't go forward. Then I'm just moving his hip around. Take back here to the other direction. Okay, again, let him travel along here straight to begin with. This guy gets to the point that he tries to anticipate so much that I do. Okay, then I take the nose again here towards the wall and using my whip here, now I'm going to bump on that hip. Okay, asking for him to drop that hip in, and I'm just, you know, if it was the very first time, all I'd be looking for is him just using those legs, crossing over and stepping down the fence. Good job. Okay, so once I feel that I have accomplished that part of it, then what I go through and do is that I then take him off the wall, and without the use of it, I see if I can start to do the same thing. Okay, so I'd bump him here, hold him in front. Good. Good job. Okay. Then I'm going to move his hip back. Good. Walk on. It's been such a long time since I've used these really long reins and this whip on him. I'm kind of like, man, there's so much gear out here. Okay, walking along, moving that hip. And you can just see that I'll either hold that whip there or I'll flick it just like I'd be indicating with my leg to move him around. Good. And walk on again. So then I go, okay, well, I'm pretty happy about that. Let's move him up here to the trot. And then at the trot, this is where you definitely need to start having your running shoes on, right? So at the trot, I'd come down the wall again, take him back over here a little bit. And first of all, I'm going to ask him to travel here straight. Good. We're going to come around. I'm going to turn here to the right. Trot on, come on. Okay, then I'm going to bring that hip to the inside. A bit more, hold it there. Good. Move that hip. There we go, keep going. Good, so remember, these are what I'd be looking there at the very early beginning of it. Same again, tip the nose here to the right. Take that hip again here to the inside. Boy. Now, the more practice that you do this, the less running you have to do. So there's real motivation to learn to do this really effectively. Have him come around again. Good job. Okay, so once I've started to get some of that hip control, then I start to think about, well, now can I keep him straight? And instead of having so much degree of bend, can I start to ask him while he's staying straight through his body? Okay, good, to there. Let's take him back this up. Now his hip's a little late. Flick there. So that hip across. How about that, huh? Good man. Okay, so we're showing you those couple. Now let's look at a little bit of canter work, because I've got a lot of stuff here I want to share with you guys here this morning. Okay, forward to canter. Okay, so to begin with, when you first start this out, it's usually like you might ask for, half a circle of canter and be able to maintain him on that. Then over a period of time of working on it, then you start to make your way in, and you just ask him to hold and to collect and to keep that balance for a little time. Good. And you'll get in, you might just touch him once, and then you let him out, okay? Goes back out onto that circle. And then as we start to continue to do it, he becomes stronger. I start to be able to ask him to hold it a little bit longer. Good. So now I've got the canter on the circle. Well, now I need to be able to ask him to go a little bit straight. Because if on a green horse I ask him to go straight to begin with, I'm not going to be able to keep up with him. I can't run fast enough. But if I do this, if I feel him a little bit on my outside rein, see how he's going straight there just a little bit for a couple of strides, and then I circle him again. So now I've been able to go, okay, I've held you going straight for a couple of strides, now back to the circle. Then I'm going to go a little straighter again. Good. Lay all those reins. See, I'm letting them slide through my hand. So I was saying the importance about the really long reins here, because I can let him go all the way out there. Good. Keep the canter. Good. Now I'm nearly out of rein, so now I circle him again. So pretty soon, I'm able to start to hold that canter to where I can get in here beside him and hold him here at a walking speed so that I can maintain it. Pretty cool, huh? And stop. Okay, so we've gone through and we've shown a part of that. The other thing that I work on is my lead changes here in the long range. So how do I go about achieving that? Okay, so the exercise that I use for that is what I refer to as a wagon wheel. So I start asking him to walk, or just walk. You're fine, we'll do it here to walk first. Walking around on a circle, okay? And then I'm going to bring, just walk, then I'm going to bring his hip to the inside, okay? There, and then let him back onto the circle and walk on. Now he's trying really hard and putting that hip in, you can see all the way as hard as he can there. Now I have him on the circle again, and then at the trot, I'm going to do the same thing. He's trotting around me here on a circle, then I'm going to start to bring that hip here to the inside. No, you're making this way more complicated than it needed to be. Walk on, trot. So, we're just doing something really basic. I know that it seems beneath you. Okay, so as he's traveling around, then I'll start asking this hip here to come to the inside. Good. 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 And then when he gets a little trouble holding that, I just let him go forward. Okay, and then I'll bring him back around here to the right. So then now I'm going to repeat that here on this side. So he's trotting around me here in a circle to the right. Good job. Okay, then I'm going to start to bring that hip to the inside this way. Good, bring it around. See how it's starting to become like a pinwheel here? Bringing that hip, good. Bringing that hip and allowing forward and back to the left. Okay, so now I'm going to take this up here to the canter. Pick him up the canter. Good. Same thing again. Okay, no, not yet. Man, little overachiever. Okay, so I establish the canter circle. Okay, establish the canter circle. Then I'm going to bring this hip in, bring this hip in, bring it in, bring it in. See how he's starting to engage that hip? See how he's starting to bring it in? Then I'm going to let him go back the other way. Let him go forward. And back to the right. Whoa. Did you not see the lead change? I know that I'm going through doing what I think is a reasonable job of explaining it, but bloody hell, the horse just did a lead change with nobody sitting on him. Just saying. Okay, so we'll pick him up to the canter here to the right. Come on, a little more canter. Good. Now I'm going to bring that hip here to the inside. See the hip engaging? And he's just waiting. There we go. Okay. A little more canter here again. So now pretty soon after doing this for a little bit, I've started to get to where I can start to control that horse's hip. That's what they call expression. Pretty soon here, I've started to be able to bring that horse's hip here to the inside just while I'm going through and asking him on a circle. Then change. Come on, keep the canter. He's got to stay going forward. Change. Bring him down here again. Change. Come on. Change. Boy. And stop. Well, take a breather. Let me give you a round of applause. So, as you can start to see, there are so many things that we can achieve in the long reins that we can do that can help build us and lead us to being able to be more efficient also under saddle. But if under saddle you lack some confidence there and you develop your long reining skills, there is so much of this that you're able to do here in the long reins in helping to develop your young horse. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple other things here with a little bit more advancement, I guess you might say, and kind of talk you through them. So you're going to see me change some gear and equipment here. And the reason for that is that due as the horse becomes more advanced, therefore I can start to take away some of this tack and equipment and refine it to being something that is a little bit more correct for the job. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off my really long reins. One of the things that you'll notice on all of our rope products, including our long reins, that we don't have the buckles here on this, because when you're starting out and you get out onto a really big circle, you don't want that big heavy buckle. So that's why that we have those little rope knots in our rope system. I'll take off the lungy bungee here at this point because he's at a stage now that he's maintaining that feel and that contact fairly consistently. Now, I know that part, leaving him stand there, may not be the right way to go about it, but knowing this guy, I feel pretty confident he's going to stand there and wait on me. So you can see here that I've gone through here to our shorter long reins here now for this next advanced part. Now, I'm often asked about the singles, can't you just tie your stirrups together underneath? And you can kind of get by like that. I did that a lot to begin with, but even in when we're starting the young horses, this single is so light and easy to maneuver around, it makes life so much easier. Now, the next thing that I progress down to is even to my shorter or my carriage driving whip. And the reason for that is because I'm going to get in quite close here as I go about working him. Now, at this point, I've started to get to the one thing is that because I have the shorter reins, I'm able to start to hold him. Don't show off yet. Okay, there's somebody that hasn't been to Road to the Horse here I think Yvonne has attended one time, but I want to tell you about a very, very talented trainer and judge that you guys have here this weekend. That's Yvonne Boto and from KYB Dressage. And Yvonne and her husband Kim really gave me some insights and help in starting out on how to help begin and teach the piaffe and the passage. And then I've been working on trying to further develop it here in the long reins. So if you get a chance to visit with Yvonne or to see her this weekend, you're very lucky to see such a talent when it comes to teaching and educating and understanding the horse. All right, so what I want to do here is that I'm going to go through and I'm going to start to just keep him trotting and start to collect him, okay? Now, as I start to do that, I'm feeling him on my left, right rein. No, that's not stop. I'm going to feel him on the left, right rein, and keep asking. No, trot. That's totally the wrong speed. And trot on. Pretty cool, huh? Bring him over here. Come on, trot. Come on. Expression. Come on. Walk on. Walk on. Good job. Okay, let me set him up, but don't clap at him for that. He just tried to kick. Guy's crazy. Okay, whoa. All right, now walk on. No, that's... You're killing me here. Just walk on. Nope, totally overdoing it. Totally overcomplicating it. Just walk. Just totally walk. Pretty clever horse, huh? Okay, Swampy. Come on. Walk on, boy. Okay, now the Spanish walk. Boy, and trot on. Okay, now we're going to go forward to the canter. Canter. Boy, a little further out. Keep canter, keep canter. Ask him to come across. Forward again. Good boy. So you see that I'm taking all the things that I've shown you, and now I'm starting to show you where it starts to become a little bit higher level here. Bump him here using my stick where my leg would be. I want to show you how... I don't want to show you. I'm trying to show people stuff. Just because I talk doesn't mean that you stop, okay? Go, canter. What I want to show you here is how light that this horse is, even at this level of collection, okay? So I'm going to let go of my reins here, and I want to show you he's in that much. Pretty cool, huh? Change. Expression, we'll get to that here in just a moment. Come on, keep the canter. Good boy. All the way around, come on. All right, let's stop him right there. Whoa. All right, guys, put your hands together for him. So I don't want to mislead you and suggest that this guy is by anywhere near finished his work in the long reins, but I want to show you the journey that he is on, leading towards using the long reining, not only as just our early education, but as a way that we can really go through and open up many other doors of being able to use the long reining to not only work on problems, not only to start our colts, but to start working on some really cool, exciting things. One of the things that we use the long reining a lot for is when we're working on developing the strength of our rearing horses. So I'll collect him up here. asking up and forward, good, and then come forward, okay, and then again, up, good, and then forward. So these long reins really give us an advantage to be able to train multiple different pieces of training. So how are we going on time, guys? We're good? I just want to make sure. How much time we got left? Halfway through. Okay, cool. So we're in good shape. So if you guys do have questions on the long reining, we recently came out with a long reining book that kind of walks you through the stuff that I've shown you here this morning. And of course we have the tack and equipment that I've demonstrated with here this morning up there at our booth. Be sure to go up and check it out, or talk to the guys up there about some of the things that would help get you not only finished in long reining, but to take you through to that point. So let's bring in, have we got Vanilla out there? Let's bring Vanilla in here for us here next. I want to show you a little bit in the long reins with him on how that we go about developing that rearing horse. And we're going to bring in some more of the Liberty horses, which is what we end up doing quite a lot with. But I'll show you a couple of the beginnings on, again, how that we'd utilize that long reining stuff. Okay, so we'll bring him on in. Katie, or if one of the crew would like to come and grab Swampy for me, and he can head on back out. So the little horse that we have coming out here is Vanilla Ice, and I'd also like to introduce to you, I got such a great group and team of people helping me out here again this week. The two that have come in here right now, we have Katie and Josh, both fellow Australians. Okay, so if you'll go ahead, take the lungy bungee, take Swampy, and then Josh, I want you to stay in here, and Katie, when you're ready, if you'll come back in, or if Kim's there, I need somebody else on the other side. I need these here. You bet. So when it comes to starting these horses on teaching them to rear, I showed you how one of the ways that we use our long reining system there to further increase the strength of the rear. But when we go out about starting this out, we started out on the wall, and then we build to the cross ties here. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of an insight on how that this would come together. So this guy here, Vanilla Ice, I've had him here on the team for a short amount of time in perspective to the rest of my horses. And this guy here and his brother Spider Pig have really gone on to do some pretty cool stuff, and I'm really excited to share with you here what I'm going to show you with the rest of the team. So just wait on one of the other guys to come in and hold the other side here for me. So one of the things that people often ask about things like the rearing horses is, well, that's all well and good, but, what if it happened to me while I was riding? The reason why that I teach this in the manner that I do is so that it doesn't get in the way when you're riding, okay? Because we teach it from the ground. It's cued from the ground. It's cued from behind camera. When you see a lot of the photos and things that we might have, that all happens from behind that footage. So I'm showing you here one of the very first early stages on how that we would go about doing that. So these guys are going to hold a very steady connection to the horses. So just hold up on your contact there. And this is Kim on the other side here. Kim's all the way from England, from the UK, and she's been over here helping us out, and it's been just such a wonderful blessing to our team. Okay, you can see that this guy's already anticipating it, okay? Now, this is one of the very few times that I actually come towards and actually touch my horses with my sticks here in order to encourage them, to let them know what's happening. Okay, reach out and rub on him. Okay, so when I go ahead, you're standing on the whip. All right, so, okay, you can just wait just a moment. What you're going to see when we work on this from the ground, and why we do it from the ground and not under saddle, is because you'll get anticipation like that. But see, I didn't do anything. The reason I didn't do anything, because once he's reared, there's nothing to correct. So I ignore it. And then I just kind of hang out like this and chat with you guys until it goes back to that point of view, which is going to stand still and relax. Now I'll just kind of walk on up here, and if he does the same thing again, I'll do the same thing. I just kind of touch him right there. So that acts as a cue. And then I'll come back, wait on him. See how he wants to come forward? That's something that I desire in this, because just like riding a horse into collection or into a frame, it's also so important for him to come through from behind. First of all, I'm going to fix his hip. I'm going to move his hip over a little bit. Good. Okay, now I'm going to ask him up. Good job. Good man. Walk in and rub on him. I want him to be confident and comfortable about doing this. Now you might say, well, how's that look when we first start? When we first start these horses, that much is all that I need to activate those front feet. Okay? And then in a very, very short amount of time, these horses will start to offer that. And this guy's been rearing now for probably around 2.5 months. Okay, so he's still quite green to it. Now I'm going to fix the hip. What I mean by fixing the hip, see how these hips kicked away? So I'll keep going here until I get that hip to move like that. Because there starts to become the control that I need. Okay, fix the hip again. Good. Okay, now up. Good boy. Up. Good. Now he's starting to already think about the walk. Fix the hip again, let him stop. And the walk forward is a good thing as long as I have a stop cue. Okay, again, I'm going to ask him up. Not quite as much as, not enough there to what I would like with where he's at. Good. And down. Good job. Walk into him and rub on him. Okay, let's take this here off now. And I'm going to show you the next step where they're at. Thanks, guys. If you'd like to take it, well, we'll bring all the team in. We won't release them to come in when we go to work them here next. Okay, so I'll bring this guy up. Now the thing, again, that I stress the importance of here right now is that everything that we do here to begin with starts out with working on our ground control, educating those horses to move around us, to be soft and obedient in the bridle, in the halter I should say here, and having our ground control on them. Come here, change of direction. Boy. This way, change direction. And then I'm going to ask here for the stop here before I go in too much further. This way. Okay, whip up, stop. Blow on my whips, send him on. Back this way, good boy. Whip up. That was totally not the lay down, but pretty cool, huh? I wish I could claim that cue right there, and with a little work I could tell you that I did, but I really didn't in that case. He's just like he knows that this is the best opportunity in the world to come in and roll. Good man. But talking about the lay down, just recently, well, when I say recently, in the last year, since I've been back visiting with you guys, I met a girl called Ariana, and she had the most unique way about teaching horses to lay down. Because I'm telling you right now, when it comes to teaching horses to lay down, and I've taught a lot, and I would feel fairly successful at it. I've used everything from carrots to chloroform. Okay? I've tried a lot of different things. And the coolest deal that I have seen is this deal that she showed us. And she was, I feel very fortunate that she shared it with us, but it goes through and it teaches the horse the 4 major movements about laying down. Drops the head, walks the hind feet up, drops the knees, and goes to the ground. And it's all done. It is the safest way in the world that I've ever seen to teach it, because you have a halter on and you have a dressage whip. There's no holding up legs, there's no tying up legs, there's no nothing involved in that other than teaching the horse those 4 major movements. So with having just a dressage whip and that halter, she'll go through and she'll ask that horse to lay down purely based on that. It's the safest way, because the worst thing that can happen if you don't do your job right, horse doesn't lay down. But what you will find that as you're going through working on that is that you'll find out that how much ground control that you do have. The better your ground control is, the easier that job's going to become. Okay, and I encourage you. We carry some of Ariana's DVDs up there on how to teach to lay down up there at her booth. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm telling you right now, it is the safest way to go about teaching that horse to lay down. All right, let's move him around here again. We're going to ask here for a couple of rares. Come here. Okay, whips up, stop, up. Good boy. Lower the whips and let him come again here forward to me. So again, I can't stress the importance of a couple of things. First of all, you've got to have good ground control on your horse, regardless if you're wanting to just spend time with him on the weekend, or if you're wanting to go through and teach and educate him to become a performance horse, a theatrical horse like we do with ours. Once that you have that good foundation, that ground control on your horse, and then we get into where that we work on our Liberty horses. The Liberty part of it is just as equally important, because what I don't want to do is I'm not going to teach a horse how to rear if he doesn't know how to work around me at Liberty, because there's no good to me that he can rear if I can't turn him loose. Okay? Come back this way. Step back. Here. Pop my whip. Again, whips up. Stop. Up. Good boy. Really, he's going to be really good. I'm super excited about what this guy's going to do. Okay, guys, let's have the rest of the team come on in. You can just, Katie and Josh, Kim, just let those horses just kind of wander on in here. I've got a little bit of time left. I'm going to share with you a few other things while I have the opportunity and have them out here. Are you guys enjoying it so far? I tell you what, you've got a really awesome lineup of people that are coming into the arena here today to share their knowledge. Of course, we had Barbara Crocs here this morning, and then myself, and I know right after me, my good friend and co-host this weekend on our live streaming, Mr. Craig Cameron. He's a character, and I love getting along to watch Craig, and such a good horseman, in the way in which that he presents stuff is just really, I love it, that it's down to earth, that it's, super practical with how that he goes about introducing everything. Let's hold off on Woodford. I'm going to work these other guys first, so you can turn everybody loose but Woodford, and then we'll see how that we're running on time just after that. And I know that the girls are like looking at these horses rolling and are like, are you serious? We just spent 2 days on getting ready for this. But the cool thing is that I love for these horses to have such a great job. Let me give you this one and this one. What I do love, though, is that these horses get to come out and relax and have a roll and enjoy their job. To me, that part is really important. We do a lot of shows each year, and it's so important that even there's days that they're like, hey, I don't really feel like going to work, but if I can make their job the most enjoyable, coming out into the arena, getting to run around, play, have a roll, then that, to me, is really important. Polo, get on over here. Come on. You travel at the speed of smell. A spider pig, it's why nobody likes you. You just consistently pick on everybody. So for the other horses that you may not recognize in here, of course, we had Vanilla Ice out here earlier. Spider Pig, which is also the horse that did bust my leg a little while ago. You talk about loving a horse through thick and thin. I feel that's a pretty good example of it. Apollo, who I brought across to my very first Road to the Horse. Amelia, of course, still acts like Amelia does, named after a crazy ex-girlfriend. What else could you expect? And Swampy. Okay, so I'm going to ask these guys to work around me here. I'm going to talk to you, because a lot of the time that I get to present this stuff here, a lot of the time it's kind of in the midst of a show, and I don't get to really explain what it is that I'm looking for, what it is that I'm asking of these horses to do. So during this little next piece here, I want to just go through and explain the things that I'm actually looking for. So to begin with, all I'm saying to them is that I want everybody to track around to the left. Anytime you're ready, Amelia. Did you get enough in your mane? I'm pretty sure that it's not kind of rubbed in quite enough. Okay, good. We happy to go now? Okay, everybody trot on. So I'm just going to say... Are you guys serious? Really, right in the middle, like just lay down in the road. Be able to get on with the things here. Okay, you're fine, Vanilla. You just do your thing while we go through and we'll kind of, start here. No big deal. Really? You're fine, just hang out, take a seat, take a load off. What are you doing? Just because your brother stops doesn't mean you're meant to. Let's get serious, guys. We're trying to show people stuff. like cool stuff. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm just initially asking for everybody to track around here to the left. Oh, I was waiting for something else to go wrong. Okay, as he tracks around to the left. Okay, then the next thing that I'm going to say, I want everybody to go the opposite direction. So I'll get them stopped here. Whoa. Okay, lower my whip, step out this way. Everybody around here this direction. Don't get too far away. I wasn't talking about taking laps. Just everybody go to the left. Sounds good. Everybody's anticipating. Everybody back to the center. Can we manage that? Whoa. Okay, keep going. Around. It's like a team of dodgem cars out here some days, I promise you. So what I'm gonna tell you what I'm looking for now. I'm looking for Spider Pig and Vanilla Ice to come back to the inside like they just did, because that's the side that they're to go on, okay? Vanilla is meant to be to the inside and everybody's going to the left. I totally have no clue what they're on right now. However, let's go back this way, guys. Steady. Good. Okay. So, like I was saying, this is what I'm looking for in the terms of the configuration of way that they're traveling around. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to step back here. I'm going to send these horses in opposite direction. I'm going to step through the center here, send Vanilla and Spider Pig to the outside. Or not. We'll set this up here again. See, if the music was playing, I'd just pretend like that was all completely meant to happen. But now I've kind of like given it away, okay? So I send these guys around. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to bring Swampy in and send him the opposite way again. Now, if you talk about needing to know where to stand and where to stand in order to be effective here, this is actually a super complicated thing to ask of these horses to do. Keep going, Pig. Good job. Swampy, keep going. Good, out there. Pig needs to catch up, or Vanilla needs to catch up in order for them to be what I would consider to be correct. So it may not look like I'm doing a whole lot, but the influence of what I'm looking at doing here becomes super important to hold these horses at that. There was sound like 3 people clapped then. All right. Come on up here to the inside. Okay, get everybody to stop here. Just again, Vanilla, Pig, come on up. Amelia, come on around. Let's go. Back this direction here. Okay, then I'm going to bring Amelia here to the... Amelia. I'm going to bring Amelia here to the inside. Trot on, guys. Amelia. Okay, now the thing I'm going to ask of her to do here in a moment is what I call an outward turn, or turn away, which is the opposite. So you're going to see me throw my whip over her rump, away turn, circle back around here to me. Come around. Good. Let's try that here again. Turn to the outside, back opposite direction. Good girl. One more, and back to the group. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, step here to the center. Everybody stop. Wow, that worked. Move around them. Well, now while my whips are up, and I say this very loosely because I can see how things have been working out so far, when my whips are up, guys, my whips are up, you to stand still and to wait. Remember that fun part? Okay, so my whips are up just like I had in my other stop cues, but I want to take you back a couple of steps here and remind you that this just doesn't kind of accidentally come together. The Liberty stuff that we share through our Liberty clinics, and if you are interested in coming along to one, visit our crew up at the booth. They can tell you when we have some of them coming up. But the Liberty stuff is as much a discipline as jumping, dressage, whatever it might be, and then refined. People might say, well, why would I want to do this? How does it apply to me? Guys, you don't take a horse that's not real broke, not real educated, not wanting to listen and do this. Even if you have no intention to ever turn these horses loose or turn your own horse loose, this stuff can apply to you because it just helps you have a really soft broke horse that's willing to be put where you ask him to be in a controlled and safe way. Okay, so I'm going to take it here from the ground. Are we still okay on time? We've got a few minutes left. Okay, you see them opening the gate and Craig's trying to get in, give me a heads up, all right? Okay. Swampy, come up on this way here just a touch. We need to give ourselves a little more room here. Good boy. Polo. Come up. Come up. Good boy. All the way. Okay. I'll drop this stick here. Okay, go ahead and down, let him have a little roll here. Or not. I guess everybody else just wanted to do that. Okay. All the way. Oh, made that look awkward. Okay, Amelia, come to the outside. Oh. Okay, now again, I'm going to try to go through and not just, kind of let everything happen, show you and tell you what I'm looking for. Now, what I want from Swampy here is to come over here to my left, so you can see how I direct him around. Walk on. Now, once again, the things that I can't emphasize enough, you guys are surrounded by great horsemen this weekend, from our competitors to, of course, four-time world champion Chris Cox. We have Richard Winters here. We have Craig Cameron here. And the one thing I think that everybody will say is that getting that horse to where he's listening to you and being obedient, whether on the ground, under saddle, becomes super important for whatever discipline you want to do, or if it's just at home having fun. So each of these horses have gone through like our ground control program. They've gone through our ridden program. Obviously, I've advanced a little bit more with Swampy on our long reining. But this stuff isn't just something where you just happen to, one day turn them loose and hope for the best. There's a real system in place as to how that we go about doing this. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll trot on here. And what I'm looking for and asking of these horses right now is to stay together as a lineup, as a group. So you're going to see me make some little corrections with them as we're going around here to tell them, hurry up, slow down, speed up, get up there, whatever that might end up being. Circle around a little bit here to the right. We're going to do a change here through the center so you can see my stick come across just to check. Slow down, and then we're going to go back here to the left. Good. Now, what we consider in our ground control level 3 is that you would be looking at riding a horse and working another horse, your ground control horse, off the ridden horse. So, I believe that with some, time spent on this, like you can progress through this stuff that I'm showing you sort of pretty quickly. Now, it may be not your cup of tea to do the Roman riding part about of what I'm about to demonstrate, but certainly from a ridden aspect, we have a lot of people that have come through our Liberty clinics that have been able to go through and to do exactly what I'm demonstrating here to you guys right now. Swampy, you're the main star. Don't get left behind. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk you through what I'm going to do. I'm going to check both horses. I'm going to reach out here to Amelia and click those fingers. That's telling her that I'm not only getting ready to, but I want you to come a little closer so that I'm not doing the splits. The next thing I'm doing is I'm looking at my horses, the position of where I'm in the arena, and then I'm going to get set up to go from, while I'm trotting around here, into a stand-up position, okay? Now, what I have to watch is my stick, that I don't cue Swampy when I go to hop up here. I'm going to check a polo here on the neck. You just see me touching just there. And that's to tell him that I want him to stay traveling straight. Okay? So there's a lot of things going on that may not look like a lot of detail, but there's a lot of things going on here. I'm going to reach across again to Amelia, put my hand on a wither, and then just stand up. Now, as I'm traveling around here, I'm making again the same little movements. Amelia, I'm going to check her to tell her to slow down a little bit. I'm going to do a full lap here before I come back through the center. Thanks, mate. Okay, I'm going to check Amelia here on the right shoulder. Okay, check Amelia again. See how she's just got a little out in the lead? Check. Polo, I want you to bring the... But Polo is like kind of my main steer horse here. He kind of helps keep this show together. Swampy, check a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to make a circle here to the right. I'm going to change the direction. I can't tell you the importance about being able to correct a shoulder when you get into this position. Check. Okay, Polo, come round. Ask the other two to slow. Good, hold. Good job, steady. Round to the left, steady. Slow down on my inside horses. Up on the outside. Circle here to the left. Keep going. Oh, that's a little wide. Okay, now I want Apollo's kind of speeding up a little bit there and pushing the circle to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to tap him here on that outside. Amelia. Can I do it on rollerblades? Heck no. Okay, hold him here. Now see how he's starting to hold the circle here? Okay, now that to me, for this job, becomes super important. Amelia, steady. Good. Okay, when I head back to the center here, I'm going to do another change of direction. Amelia. And Spider Pig. Golly. Okay, keep trotting. Holding to the straight, now to the right. Pretty cool, huh? This, for me, I feel has been one of the greatest accomplishments for me personally to go through and do this. I can't tell you the freedom that you feel standing up here with, standing on the back of two horses and having three go around you. It's pretty damn cool. All right, we're going to take them back here to the center. But I want to tell you, I never thought I'd say something like this. I want to tell you the coolest thing that happened to me this week. My wife and I were blessed so graciously by God to have a beautiful baby girl, and she's been at home for 2 days. That's pretty damn cool. All right, we're going to go to the center here, and I'm going to ask him to stop. And that's always the part that becomes a little awkward, is the stopping. To the center, and woo. Woo. Back up. All right, now I know that we must be just about out of time, and everyone's been so gracious to stop and hang around. Like I said, we have Craig coming out next. I'd like to thank you and to thank Tootie for having me back here at the Road to the Horse. I hope to see some of you guys over the next couple of days. Thanks so much.
Folks, stop out one more time for Dan James, everybody.